So, I'm going to be doing a video today about professional wrestling. And, well, I'm doing this vlog style because in talking about a local professional wrestling promotion that will be coming to its conclusion, at least from what they're currently be communicating on their social media, I also need to talk about some other promotions that in my perspective, what drew me to this one. The promotion that's closing its stopping operations is Prestige Wrestling, and the reason was drawn to them, I need to talk about ECW, Ring of Honor, and New Japan Pro Wrestling. And of those promotions, they tend to be a little touchy, particularly ECW's owner, WWE, or TKO now, and New Japan Pro Wrestling tend to be touchy about content stuff on YouTube. And so if I use clips of them, they probably might have me take down the video. So I'm not going to do that. Look, if you follow Kim Justice's videos, you know he'd kind of be a little careful about what stuff he uses video footage of. So you understand this. To the point where like Kim Justice basically, sorry, not wrong pronouns. Kim basically barely covers when they're doing Puro videos. They tend to stick more towards All Japan and Noah and that sort of thing, rather than getting too much into, New Japan unless it's really necessary. So, well, the promotion in question, with Prestige Wrestling, the thing is, with what introduced me to professional wrestling and got me watching it again, was to a big extent, like, I've got this a bit with Mick Foley's memoir. And having read that while working at the library. The other part of this that came into this was me looking into this got me looking at wrestling news sites, and seeing reviews of what were then current Ring of Honor events. And honestly, the whole Philadelphia scene. Ring of Honor, Combat Zone Wrestling, and yes, XPW. In fact, the big feud that ended up happening between like Chikara, CZW, XPW, like basically like all the local Ring of Philly, Tri-State promotions versus Rob Black and XPW. So, this led to me hunting down DVDs of Ring of Honor shows and also going on to the Death Valley Driver video review site I've talked about a little bit in the past, and watching, getting introduced to Puro there. And what I came to realize of what I wanted in wrestling as I hunted down, also like around this time you had the various additional peer-to-peer file swapping software, not just Napster, but like some of the names are skipping. Like there was a variety, like eDonkey, a lot of them. I bounced through a bunch of those protocols back in the day, and this was high school, and I didn't know better. So, because not so much because I didn't. Because piracy, but because viruses. So, in any case. Also mislabeled files was another part of it. So I was getting introduced, hunting down old ECW tapes and ECW events, and watching Ring of Honor shows, and realizing that what I liked in wrestling, because also watching some CZW as well, is while I appreciated the big hardcore matches. Like I went down and hunted down and watched the Mick Foley, Terry Funk, King of Death match. While I watched that, I watched Combat Megumi Kudo versus Combat Toyota, and like they were also in a barbed wire death match. While I watched some of those like big bloody gimmick matches and that sort of thing, I found out what I like in pro wrestling is like, well, I can appreciate what that part of it, but what hooks me is your Bam Bam Bigelow's, your Taz, your Dean Malenko's, your Eddie Guerrero's, your Chris Jericho's of that period of the 90s. Basically the guys who also could have a really, really good technical match, enjoyable, but also Rob Van Dam and Jerry Lynn have a really enjoyable match where no one gets hit with a chair, or like the people getting hit with chairs is the seasoning as opposed to the main course of your any match with Sandman, any match with Tommy Dreamer, any match with Public Enemy. The brawlers that are more in the vein of the Nasty Boys. And then related to this, I've never had the same dislike of the Nasty Boys that certain fans of certain eras of WCW had, because I kind of had the sense like, oh yeah, the Nasty Boys were brawlers. And they're good at that. That's the one match they're good at. You put the Nasties in a hardcore brawl, and they will generally do well. And as I ended up seeing more of the Nasties, I ended up going, it makes absolute 100% perfect sense why when Public Enemy was brought into WCW, they were immediately put in the program with the Nasty Boys. They're the two guys. They're like the two teams who work almost fundamentally identical styles, and that's what you did with Public Enemy in ECW as well. So, we're going to put them with the Gangstas. We're going to put them with. I mean, yes, the Eliminators could also do regular matches as well. Perry Saturn was a very good wrestler in his own right, but you get what I mean. But like, if we're going to watch a Terry, yeah. So with all of that in mind, what I didn't like about those old shows is like, the saying goes, the past is a foreign country. But if you are wrestling fans, when it comes to watching old ECW, when it comes to watching Ring of Honor matches, there are things that you immediately go, no, yeah, this is aged badly. The misogynist insults being chanted at women in ECW. Look, I've reviewed a bunch of starting Ring of Honor DVDs leading up to the Foundation of the Prophecy. One of my reviews of a Ring of Honor event is cited as being used as evidence for, hey, why this event was when you first had where the Please Don't Die chant started, or being a thing with Paul London whenever he went to do something incredibly risky and definitely incredibly stupid. So I can also confidently say that, when watching early Ring of Honor, you also have to overcome the hurdle that is the Christopher Street Connection, which is a tag team that is where their gimmick is they are camp gay and they're heels. That is the entirety of the gimmick. Is they're not effeminate in a Gorgeous George in the 50s kind of way, where we're not saying they're gay, but it's strongly implied that they're gay in a very in a particular way. No, they're just saying outright these guys are gay. They are flaming, depicted as a flaming stereotype, actively hitting on men, that sort of thing. That I don't know whether the actual wrestlers were gay, but that particular depiction of the stereotype aged badly. And was not good at the time, to be honest, and doesn't play as well now. And it makes it hard going back to these events where, hey, there's this is the best period of Low-Ki's career. This is Low-Ki at his peak as a wrestler. And it's hard to recommend someone go back and say, hey, if you want to see good Low-Ki, check out these matches, without going, also, but I'm honestly speaking here, the Era of Honor Begins, the first match, which has really great main event that is Christopher Daniels versus Bryan Danielson versus Low-Ki, with some really great spots. And I recommend that match completely. There's some also really good matches in the undercard. It's got an Eddie Guerrero versus Super Crazy match in there that's great. But you have Christopher Street Connection's the curtain jerker, and that's a hurdle you have to overcome. And have a long-running storyline, which also leads them into an alliance with Prince Nana. Prince Nana is there from the beginning, and again, it's like, yeah. So there's that there too. There's going to be continuity there, and it's going to relate to the tag scene once that comes up. So, yeah, it's. That is my reaction I have when I start thinking, okay, do I recommend early Ring of Honor? And it's like, I recommend matches. I recommend matches. But even then, again, long-term storyline continuity. You have the formation. You have these early stables starting. You have the formation of the embassy. You have the formation of the prophecy. Now, those are factions that will last for over a decade or more. So, but that leads again to Prestige Wrestling, because then I started having various independent matches and stuff popping up on my YouTube feed, getting recommended in video threads on various places for Prestige Wrestling, and it's having the quality of matches that I'm looking for. And like, wow, where is this? And eventually I notice that they're talking about, for the venue for some of these shows is the Roseland. I'm like, there's a Roseland in Portland. Wait, there's a Roseland. Is this West Coast? Well, like they're gonna be like Seattle. They come down to Portland every now and then because their promotions are like, oh yeah, they're up in the Seattle area. They'll occasionally drift down there, then pop back up to Seattle, or even more, they're like British Columbia. They're Vancouver, BC, and occasionally they'll jaunt over the border to Seattle, maybe as far down to Portland. No, they're local. They are absolutely local. Like, oh, I can go to their shows. I should go to their shows. So I went to a Roseland show. I went to their first big the first Combat Clash show at the PSU Viking I forget the exact name of the venue on campus. It's the basketball stadium. Did I make it the second one, unfortunately, because what I ran into was, unfortunately, the thing with going to wrestling events on Sundays, which is when they scheduled them, you have to go to work the next day and they get out late. And so it was a case of managing my financial, my PTO. I'm like, okay, can I afford to take the extra time off and that sort of thing? And it made things tricky. But like, okay, I need to start going back again. I need to get the PTO together and go. And then I learned that Prestige Wrestling is coming to an end. And to which I went, crap. Because also what I wanted to do is I wanted to go with a friend and I wanted to arrange something to have a friend to go with. But on the other hand, like, what I will say about Prestige Wrestling ending is it's not ending in bankruptcy, which is the way these things, like when they end, when a promotion ends, it feels like, oh, we started with a big pile of cash and then we ended with a smaller and smaller decreasing pile of cash, and we couldn't get bookings and we couldn't get venues and we lost, and we couldn't get the fans, we couldn't sell tickets, and eventually we dried up. Or you lost, or you overexpanded too quickly, and like the classic story of ECW or Ring of Honor nearly going kaput due to running the problems with the pandemic and ultimately getting saved by getting bought by Tony Khan. But no, it was burnout by the promoter and said, okay, I can't, this is not psychologically sustainable for me, so I'm going to call it quits. And while it stinks, particularly for the wrestlers and the fans who built up the community around the promotion, I get it. And I also get why you're saying, hey, I'm packing it in because I want to make sure I maintain this quality. And there's an element of the culture of Prestige I think is important, which is Prestige Wrestling was a promotion where when you came out for the show before the opening bell, promoter would come out and say, hey, welcome to the show. Here's some ground rules. You can do your punk rock chats. You go tell the heels to go fuck themselves. You can cheer the guys. You can say, hey, when Minoru Suzuki comes out and starts smacking around the younger wrestler who's dared to challenge him in the ring, you can chant, fuck you, young boy, as he chops the crap out of him. But no homophobic chants, no homophobic stuff, no misogynist, nothing ableist, nothing racist. You pull that bigoted shit, you get shown the door, you don't even get a refund. Because we warned you, we told you up front, don't do that shit. And I appreciate that. I appreciated that a lot. More than like any other promote. Like that is really the thing that makes Prestige Wrestling go, oh, yes. This has the quality of matches to it. The quality of work in the ring to it that I'd expect and get, that I wanted out of a Ring of Honor, and what I loved out of Ring of Honor, I loved out of ECW, that I loved out of Chikara. But I had full confidence that the bigoted shit was not going to be there. Was something where I could take my friends and then say, hey, do you want to go see wrestling? And they could go, and if they were willing to say yes, I could take them to a show where they would go, this was fun. I don't feel gross afterwards. And that is something wrestling promotions should aspire to be. Prestige Wrestling lived up to that first part of it, to do its name. And there are other indie promotions in the Portland area, and many of them have booked similar talent, some of the talent, and shared talent, and even had title defenses on Prestige Wrestling shows. And I will seek those out. I will try to find out their schedules and look up their titles and that sort of thing, so I can follow those promotions and hopefully enjoy them and share them with my friends. But Prestige Wrestling, I think, was an important part of the Portland wrestling, not just Portland wrestling, it was a valuable contributor to wrestling. I'd hoped at some point, because some of the talent from Prestige had made it on like guest appearances on AEW shows. Mira had a one-off appearance on an AEW show, for example. And like the dream I had, which is like more than anything else, was, oh, maybe Tony Khan decides, I need to make sure that we keep the tape library of Chikara from going into the massive monolithic vault that exists in Stamford, Connecticut, and goes to Mike Quackenbush and says, yeah, Mike, you are a piece of shit. You are an asshole. But that tape library is important. So I'm going to cut you a check for your tape library and the rights to Chikara, and also the title Campeones de Parejas and the King of Trios. And then goes, okay, and then Tony Khan comes out and says, hey, we got Chikara, we got the rights to King of Trios. We've been doing a thing with our Trios belt. We're going to do the King of Trios event once a year. And we're going to actively partner with indie promotions. And we're going to, I'm not going to say this on television, but like when we're talking, like, hey, we're doing this to put over the smaller local promotions, because having a thriving local indie scene helps everyone else in wrestling. So our thing with King of Trios is that actually, like, our guys are going to put over the local guys big time, or even just put them over the local guys. Like, that would be the dream scenario. Would be like, hey, the Noise. I mean, yes, the members of the Noise has also appeared in TNA, but like, hey, we're going to bring in the Noise, and they're going to have, like, we're going to do King of Trios and the Noise, and we're going to put the Noise in the tournament bracket. We're going to put the Dark Order in the tournament bracket because because if the Dark Order and the Noise reach the finals or even the semifinals, there's a story there, and that will make for an interesting match that people will want to watch. So, like, that's what I'd love. So, like, we're not going to get that, at least not for a while. Also, the Noise broke up by the time that Prestige had given conclusion. Alan Angels remained heel. And I have to go look this up real quick to confirm the members of the group. Tag team for the Noise. Noise, Alan Angels, tag team. All right, so they don't actually have that in on the record. Let me check the Cage Match. Wow, Cage Match doesn't have the Noise. Does Wrestling Data have it? That's actually disappointing that his Ring of Honor history is not included in, or Ring of Honor membership of the Noise is not listed in here. That's a bummer. That's a legitimate bummer, actually. I'm actually having to like hunt this. Wow. It was Judas Icarus and Sinner and Saint, right? So it was Sinner and Saint, Judas Icarus and Travis Williams, and Alan Angels as the Noise. And that was it kind of goes to show how underappreciated I think that that Prestige has been, that the Noise as a stable did not make it into has not made it into Cage Match under Alan Angel's name. I mean, they're not current, but that's like the Noise lasted in Prestige for about a year. Well. But yeah, so I don't have to hunt down a West Coast Pro and some of the other local stables, local promotions, and check them out, because the loss of Prestige is missing as a gap in the local scene. Even if I'm not able to watch them in person, if I can stream their stuff online, I would love to be able to do that. So once again, thank you to all the people involved with Prestige Wrestling. You were doing a wonderful thing to the local wrestling scene, to give Portland a thriving wrestling scene. And I hope that you're absent, that the other promotions are able to fill the void. I mean, say what you will for the end of ECW. What came out of it was Ring of Honor, CZW, Chikara, and numerous others. There was there were riches that sprang out of what ECW left behind, and hopefully Prestige, the same will come out of Prestige. And if we are lucky, because the way they've put it is Prestige could come back, and hopefully when they do, it will be just as good as before.
Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please like and subscribe, and also consider backing my Patreon. Patreon backers get episodes up to 1 week early of this show and any future Let's Plays. Also, please consider backing my Ko-fi. Tossing me a few bucks also helps support the show, and it's not a monthly obligation or anything like that.